summer plants. And we are going to begin to prepare our fall and winter garden. So we've added soil, and we're going to use this tool to till and amend the soil dirt that was already there. So we're adding nutrients by adding new soil. And we're going to do the same thing with the raised bed. We're going to loosen the soil up, and then we're going to till it. We're going to mix in some new soil so that the plants have nutrients. And then we're going to plant. Keep in your mind that we use the Miracle Grow potting mix. When I was finished, there's my dad out in the back helping by vacuuming the backyard. He's so funny. And your teacher found a cricket. Let's call him Jiminy. Here we have a chart with a list of vegetables that explains which ones grow best in spring and summer and which ones grow best in fall and winter. We're going to plant the plants that grow best in fall and winter. So right before I went to go get plants, I came across this very nice man named Gary. Say, hey, Gary. Gary grows his plants straight out of the soil bag. It is a really interesting process. So here we are at Mr. Gary's house. I just want you to see some of the plants that he has planted and grown in the soil bags, because it's really neat. He also built all of these raised planter beds. Mr. Gary did an experiment to test and see which types of soil work best.
In 30 days to prove what they're worth.
8 different types of soil and 5 different kinds of plants.
Right, so each bag...
So you're testing the soil.
Yeah, so each bag got planted the same day, Labor Day, with the same plants. There's red cell lettuce.
So you're doing an experiment.
Yeah, it's not real scientific, but it's...
It is scientific. You're utilizing the scientific method.
Okay, and we have dinosaur kale, we have arugula, we have blue curled dwarf kale, and we have red Russian kale. And you notice that the plants are very different in each different soil. Like, look at this one, it's not doing really too great. The lettuce is doing good in there.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to grow plants in
certain things like...
I guess moisture control potting soil might not be as nice.
It's maybe good for the lettuce, but maybe not as good for, like the dinosaur kale loves that one on the end. And then you see some of them, the lettuce is getting bigger. This is funny, this is garden soil, and it's doing really well. It's the smallest bag of soil.
This is the soil I use.
Yeah, this is good. And look at but look at the poor arugula. It's not.
Oh, that arugula. But there's always.
But look at this arugula. Same planted the same day. Look at this one. So. Yeah. So today is, I have it out front here. Day 21.
Remember the soil we used? It came in top 2 in Mr. Gary's experiment. Mr. Gary went on to explain how he planted seeds and ended up with hundreds of plants, and how he shared them with lots of different people, including us.
These rosette tapsois, the seeds, I planted 2 little 6-packs like that, and I took them apart, teased the roots apart, and put them in their own pots, and I had 150 of them out of 2 6-packs. So
that's so nice of you, and that's just really cool. Mr. Gary planted a beautiful garden, and he also started planting seeds so he could grow seedlings to share with people when the pandemic started. That is a very healthy hobby. The method of planting plants and growing them right out of the soil bag is also very cool. I was also impressed with Mr. Gary's woodworking skills because he built all of these himself. His garden was just gorgeous. I was really happy to meet Gary, and so was my dad, especially because he uses Behr stain on all of his woodworking projects. Mostly it was nice meeting him because he was so interesting and so nice. He gave us these seedlings for our Panther's fall and winter garden. Unfortunately, your teacher found some toadstools and got distracted looking for fairies, because where there's toadstools, there's fairies. Please note that if you see these in your garden, do not eat them. They are toadstools and they are poison. They are not mushrooms. But some of the plants suffered because your teacher did not plant them in a timely fashion. So, Panthers, I planted the plants I could salvage both in the ground and in the raised bed. But then Mr. Gary was so kind that he offered to give us more seedlings and tell us about them.
Spinach. This is the flashy troutback lettuce.
Trout lettuce. It's fishy lettuce.
This is the dinosaur kale.
Dinosaur kale.
Like a dinosaur. This is the it's a dwarf blue curled kale. And I don't know why it doesn't look blue, but that's what they call it. This is the mustard.
There's this weird thing with vegetables and fruits and chili peppers where they call things a color, but it's not that color. It's a different color.
There's another.
I don't understand it. I'm perplexed by it.
There's another little dinosaur kale. If you want to plant it and see how it does. Here's a romaine lettuce.
Oh, we have salad in the box.
And this is a sword lettuce, which I think is going to be like a romaine.
Ooh, I like the name sword lettuce.
Yeah, it's interesting. And this is a Russian red kale. If you want this, if you'd rather have this one, you can have this one. He's a little bit bigger. He's already started.
Gary gave us some very interesting fall and winter plants that grow best during the colder season. Hey Panthers, so we're out here in the Panthers garden and we are going to begin to plant our seedlings. We planted a couple, but there's still a lot left to do. So let's get to it. All right, so I had to go get a trowel. This is a trowel, it's a little shovel. So when you garden, you need to use gardening tools. Makes it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna take the trowel and I am going to dig a hole that's about the size of the trout lettuce. In the soil. And I'm going to see if I can get the seedling out with one hand. I did it. So here's the trout lettuce, and you can see there's the roots, and there's the leaves. And as we have learned before, but I am going to reiterate or repeat, plants need good soil, sunlight, air, and water to flourish. And we're going to talk more about each of those individual things too later. But for now, I would like for you to know that the roots are how the plants suck up the nutrients and the water out of the soil. And the leaves are what collect the energy from the sun, which is called photosynthesis, which helps them to grow. So we're going to place this into the hole we dug with the trowel. And then we're going to take the soil and we're going to press it in there pretty tightly. And there we go. We've planted the spotted trout lettuce. Now it's next to its friends. So Panthers, we ended up with the start of a very leafy fall and winter garden. Gardening is dirty work, but someone's got to do it. Like I said, Mr. Gary gave us some really uniquely named plants. This is the flashy troutback lettuce. It's a fishy lettuce. Actually, I think it's named after the trout because of the spots on it. Since we were talking about the flashy troutback lettuce, this is another plant that has kind of a funny name I think you might like. It's called dinosaur kale. It's named after dinosaurs. It's a very healthy leafy green. Hey Panthers, while we're talking about plants with strange names, this is called blue curled kale. Except it's not blue. Its name is very misleading. I don't understand it, but sometimes produce or edible plants are called names of colors that they are not. I don't know, I guess it's just a farmer thing. Slowly we're going to acquire a couple more plants. Right here we've added asparagus to the garden. Also planted some radish seeds. Oh my gosh, they've sprouted. Space radishes, just like at the space station. These radishes are going to be purple. All right, Panthers, so we got some trellises because we are going to be planting peas. This plant is a peas plant. So here are the plants from Mr. Gary. The fleshy trout back lettuce, some romaine, some bok choy, and we also planted peas that hopefully will grow up the trellis. Just extremely exciting. The Carolina Reaper plant, the hottest chili pepper in the world, decided to grow a second harvest. Look, this one's ripening. It's red and green like Christmas. So I put Christmas lights on it. Isn't it pretty? Our fall and winter garden is now looking fresh and green and leafy. I just want to thank Mr. Gary once again because it was so nice of him to help contribute to our Panther's fall and winter garden. I'm so excited I get to grow a fall and winter garden with you guys. Peace out, Panthers.